The road stretches endlessly ahead, dark, narrow, lined with trees that lean like silent witnesses. The only sound is the hum of your engine and the occasional hiss of tires against damp pavement. Then, out of nowhere, you see her. A young woman standing at the side of the road, pale in the glow of your headlights, her arm raised for a ride. She looks harmless, almost fragile, shivering in the night air. You slow down, you let her in. Her voice is soft, her story vague. She only needs a ride home. You drive in silence, and then, as you near her destination, she is gone. No door opened, no sound. Just an empty seat where a moment ago someone sat. This is the story of the Vanishing Hitchhiker, one of the most enduring legends of American folklore. It has been told across the country, but nowhere does it take root more deeply than in the winding roads of Kentucky. For decades, drivers have reported picking up mysterious passengers who vanish before their eyes. Always the same eerie details. A young woman, often dressed in white, seeking a ride to a home that no longer exists. And when the driver asks about her later, the family explains she died years before. Could it be the spirit of someone lost too soon, forever searching for a way home? Or is it a trick of the mind, a story born from the lonely, dangerous roads of Kentucky? Kentucky is a land of winding highways, narrow country roads, and long stretches of dark rural landscape. In the rolling hills outside towns like Louisville and Lexington, countless back roads cut through farmland, forest, and forgotten cemeteries. These roads are beautiful by day, but at night they take on a different nature. Mist gathers low to the ground, headlights struggle against shadows, and silence presses close around you. It is on these roads, especially near old bridges and graveyards, that the Vanishing Hitchhiker appears. For more than half a century, drivers have shared nearly identical stories of spectral passengers. Their descriptions echo one another so closely that dismissing them as coincidence seems impossible. The legend itself has roots deep in oral tradition, stretching back to the early 20th century. Some folklorists trace its Kentucky origins to the 1930s, when travelers first began telling tales of a mysterious young woman who would appear on Highway 25 near Lexington. Dressed in white, she would flag down a driver, climb into the car, and speak little as she directed them to her home. But when the driver arrived, she was gone. Shocked and confused, the driver would knock on the door, only for the family inside to confirm the impossible. The woman they described had died years earlier in a tragic accident. Some say she was killed in a car crash, others that she was struck while walking home one rainy night. Whatever the truth, her spirit seems bound to the roads where her life was cut short. Descriptions of the hitchhiker remain eerily consistent. She is often young, in her late teens or early 20s, with long dark hair and a pale face. Her clothes are simple, sometimes outdated, often white or light in color, glowing faintly in the headlights. Drivers describe her demeanor as calm, polite, even shy. She rarely speaks, except to give directions or to thank the driver. But when she disappears, she does so without warning, sometimes while the car is still moving. One moment she is there, her reflection in the window, the faint scent of flowers or rain lingering in the air. The next moment, the seat is empty, the silence overwhelming. And always, the driver is left shaken, unsure whether they transported a lost soul or slipped into a dream. Kentucky is filled with haunted roads tied to these stories. Along Sleepy Hollow Road near Louisville, drivers report strange lights and ghostly figures that appear and vanish. On Mitchell Hill Road, tales of spectral women walking along the roadside persist. But the Vanishing Hitchhiker is the most chilling of all. Unlike other apparitions, she interacts. She enters your car. She tells you where to go. She leaves behind not just fear, but questions that linger long after the drive is over. Perhaps the most unsettling part of the Kentucky legend is how many witnesses there are. From truck drivers to traveling salesmen, from local teenagers to out-of-town visitors, the accounts are nearly identical. Some claim they drove the woman home, only to find her gone as they turned into the driveway. Others say she disappeared before they even reached the destination, leaving them alone on the dark road. A few even report later seeing her face in obituaries or old photographs, recognizing her instantly. And yet, no matter how many times the story is told, the vanishing hitchhiker always returns. She appears again and again, as if forever bound to the roads of Kentucky, repeating her silent request, a ride home she can never complete. Over the years, countless drivers in Kentucky have stepped forward with their own terrifying encounters. One trucker swore he picked up a young woman late one rainy night outside Louisville. She was shivering, drenched, and softly asked for a ride home. He offered her his coat, draped it over her shoulders, and drove as she quietly gave directions. But when he pulled into the long gravel driveway she had described, the seat was empty. His coat lay folded neatly where she had sat. The stunned trucker knocked on the door, and an elderly woman answered. When he explained, she looked at him with sorrow. "That was my daughter," she said. "She died in an accident 10 years ago. People still bring her home sometimes." Another story comes from a college student driving back to Lexington after a party. He spotted a girl in white by the roadside, thumb raised. She climbed in, introduced herself with a name he later forgot, and asked to be dropped near her parents' house. They drove in near silence. He glanced at her once, noticing how pale she looked in the dim glow of the dashboard, how her lips barely moved when she spoke. As he pulled onto the quiet street she directed, he turned to ask if this was the right place, only to find the seat empty. The car door had never opened. The window was still closed. He swore he felt a sudden chill, the temperature plummeting inside the car. Later, when he mentioned the name she'd given him to locals, they recognized it immediately. It belonged to a girl who had died in a wreck decades earlier. These stories repeat across the state. Different names, different roads, but always the same pattern. A young woman, a ride, a sudden vanishing. The sheer consistency of these reports is what makes the legend so enduring. How do so many witnesses describe the same event? How do so many strangers with nothing to gain share nearly identical experiences? Skeptics point to psychology for an answer. Driving at night is exhausting, the mind lulled into a semi-dreamlike state by monotony. Shadows flicker, headlights distort, and fatigue blurs the line between perception and imagination. A lonely figure by the roadside might be a trick of the light, a mailbox mistaken for a person, a branch swaying in the mist. Once the idea of the vanishing hitchhiker is planted in the public imagination, the brain can supply the rest, turning shadows into a woman, silence into whispers. It is, skeptics say, nothing more than folklore replayed in the minds of tired drivers. But others are not so quick to dismiss. Folklorists argue that the legend endures because it speaks to universal fears. Loneliness, death on the open road, the desire for closure after tragedy. The hitchhiker is often a young woman whose life ended too soon, a ghost searching endlessly for the home she lost. Each retelling is not just a ghost story, but a way of grappling with grief, with the fragility of life. The road becomes a liminal space, a place between life and death, where spirits still wander. Then there are those who believe wholeheartedly in the supernatural explanation. To them, the vanishing hitchhiker is real, a restless soul bound to the site of her death. She is doomed to repeat her final journey, to climb into passing cars and seek a ride she can never finish. Her sudden disappearance is not imagination, but proof that the veil between the living and the dead is thinner than we dare admit. Some even suggest she appears as a warning, protecting drivers from accidents by forcing them to slow down, to pay attention to the road. In this theory, the hitchhiker is not just a ghost, but a guardian of sorts. Tragic, yes, but purposeful. The eerie, unresolved twist is that no matter how many times this legend is studied, dissected, and explained away, it refuses to fade. New reports continue to surface, long after the roads have changed, long after the names of the supposed spirits have been forgotten. A trucker in 1998, a soldier on leave in 2006, a rideshare driver in 2019, all tell the same story. Even in the age of smartphones and Jeeps, the vanishing hitchhiker of Kentucky remains. Some believe this persistence proves she is real, that her spirit truly haunts the roads. Others argue it proves something about us, that we need her, that we keep her alive in our stories because she represents fears we cannot name. So, what is the vanishing hitchhiker of Kentucky? A ghost caught in an endless loop, replaying the final journey home? A folktale shaped by fear, exhaustion, and imagination? Or a reminder from the past that death is never as far away as we'd like to believe? Perhaps it is all three. Perhaps, late at night, when the road is long and the mist rises from the fields, the truth does not matter. If you ever find yourself driving those lonely Kentucky roads and you see a pale figure by the roadside, slow down. Stop if you dare. She may climb into your car, quiet and cold, her eyes distant as she murmurs where to take her. And when you turn to look again, she may already be gone, leaving only silence, only questions, and only the memory of a ride you will never forget. If you enjoy this journey into America's darkest legends, like the video, subscribe, and join us as we uncover all 50 states.